You're playing piano with your worship team for the first time this Sunday, but you're feeling nervous and unsure what steps to take. For new beginners, we're going to break it down to 3 easy practice sessions you can do during the week before Sunday. I'll take you through my process for learning and taking notes on one worship song, and then you'll be able to apply these principles to any worship song. So let's get into our 3 sessions. Session 0. Aside from practice sessions, I also recommend creating a Spotify playlist called Sunday Setlist that you could change every week you're on, and then listen and worship on repeat throughout the week to get the songs in your head and to really get to know them. Session 1. For session 1, let's learn the first 2 songs of the set and then begin taking notes. And I have a 4-letter acronym for this method that I use, and the acronym is PRAY. Today I'm going to use Living Hope as my example song, and I typically prefer using the Bethel version, so that's what we'll be using today. First, P stands for positions. I would determine what inversions and hand positioning you're going to be playing, and then also what the 1 and 5 of the key are. Since we're in the key of D, the 1 and 5 of the key are going to be D and A, and the 4 chords in this song are D, G, A, and B minor, or the 1, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I go more in depth on how to pick out inversions in this video, but I'll quickly go through it here. This method can seem a little technical, but it's definitely the easiest hand formations. For the 1 of the key, which is D, we're going to play a 1, 3, 5, which is D, F sharp, A. For the 4 of the key, which is G, we're going to play D, G, and A. For the 5 of the key, which is A, we would play 1, 2, and 5, which is D, E, and A. And then for the 6 of the key, which is B minor, we would play the 1, 3, and 5 again, just like the 1 chord, and that is D, F sharp, and A. So now let's take notes. Now you could take notes on an iPad like I'm doing here, or you could also take notes if you have printed sheet music. You do the same thing, just grab a pen and start to take notes. I would normally start by writing down by the verse. You could write, if you're newer to inversions, you could write literally the numbers or letters like I just talked about. So for D, I would write either 1, 3, 5, or I would write D, F sharp, A. You can fill out the rest of these inversions. For A, you could write 1, 2, 5, or D, E, A, whatever helps you the most. Next, R stands for riffs. Begin to learn applicable intro parts, and if your worship team doesn't have an electric guitar player, I would also listen for electric guitar intros / lead lines, and then mimic those. So for the song Living Hope, when I listen to the Bethel version, I hear a little piano part that I would just try to pluck out. And if you hear a melody, you could also just try to pluck it out by ear. You could also pull up a keys tutorial. I would search YouTube. Just know that often won't be in the same key as what you're going to be playing Sunday. As you learn the keys tutorial, I would write down the numbers, and then I would transpose to the current key that you're actually going to be in. So this is the part that I hear for the Living Hope intro. It's a pretty simple part. I would write a little note. You could do the letters or the numbers. I'll do the numbers for now. 5, 1, 5, 2, 1. And again, you could write, if you wanted the letters, you could write a D, A, E, D. If you know the part, but you just want a quick visual reminder, sometimes I'll even do something like this so I can see, okay, the melody goes down, up, down. Just make something that will be clear, especially as you're first learning a song. You'll probably have a lot of notes, and then as you begin to learn the song and become comfortable with it, you can probably just do more simple versions of notes, and it won't have to fill out the whole page. But for now, take whatever notes you need to for those intros and lead lines. For the instrumental, you could write the same thing. It's the same as the intro, and I didn't hear any electric guitar parts that I wanted to mimic on the verses or chorus. Intro part is really the only lead line that we'll be playing. Sometimes songs will have another lead line going to the bridge or over the chorus, but that's pretty song specific. For this song, we just have that one lead line intro. Alright, next. A stands for amplify. So we're gonna plan through dynamics and when and how we're gonna build and drop. You can check out this video for great dynamics tips if you need help thinking of ideas for how typical modern worship songs build. So I would jot down any notes for where you're gonna build and how. For Living Hope, I'm going to take notes real quick. On this song, I know for big chorus, I'll write big over here, I'm going to do arpeggios. And I also know for the first chorus, when I go out of verse 2 into chorus for the first time, I'll move my hand up an octave. Verse 3, I know gets really big. So we start verse 3 sort of low, soften, synth, keys, and the second time we're going to start to build. So I'll start playing quarter notes, I'll move up an octave, and I'm just writing what makes sense to me. So I wrote quarter. I also know earlier in the song, verse 2, I like to do a little arpeggio riff to give a little bit of momentum through verse 2. After all of this, Y stands for yoke. And for yoke, we're literally yoking ourselves to a metronome. So I'm going to run through the song with a metronome, and we're going to yoke ourselves to it at a slow tempo until we're comfortable playing through the song. And then we're going to keep adjusting the metronome up to a higher tempo until we're at 120% of the original tempo. Now, I recommend the AutoPad app if you need a metronome, because we'll also use it for a pad in session 3 as well. Here's the AutoPad app. You could choose whatever key. Since we're in D, I would choose this D, and here you have your click. I have my sound set, and I have tempo at 120, so I would bring it down to 100. You've got a nice slow tempo to start working through Living Hope. As I get comfortable, I'll bring it up a little. Let's say bring it up to 110. Once you get to 140, you're now at the song tempo, and I'll eventually bring it up all the way to this 170 tempo. Playing with this pad is nice because you can hear the transitions and it fills out a lot of the space if your key's playing. Alright, so I would do this for the first 2 songs in the set list. That's a lot for one day, so now we're going to take a break. Session 2. For session 2, we're going to learn the next 2 songs of the set list, and again, do the pray method. So take notes on important inversions, intros, lead lines, and dynamics, and then play through the songs with a metronome until you get to that roughly 120% tempo range. Now, session 3, you've learned all the individual songs, and you're able to play them dynamically with the metronome set to 120%. For this final session before Sunday, you should now run through the entire set with a metronome at normal speed. Pull up some backing pads like I just pulled up. You can get free, great sounding ones on my website. I recommend you use the pads with the app AutoPad that I just showed you, and then play the metronome through it simultaneously. Your focus on this point should be on nailing any intros and outros, and then building and dropping dynamically through the songs. Play straight through the songs as much as possible without pausing, as if it was literally Sunday morning. If you miss a chord in the chorus, don't try to hit it again or pause and go back. Just wait for the next best spot to come in like you would if you were playing live. After a song is finished, resolve on the 1 of the key, then change your pad to the next song key, adjust your metronome tempo, and start the intro of the next song if applicable. Follow this through for the entire set list. Alright, you did it. You're now ready for Sunday. But what do you do on the actual Sunday that you're on set? First, don't be the person who's late to practice. Keys players with a keys rig especially need to get there early to set up. This way, you're fully ready to go when rehearsal time begins. Do a quick review of your notes if you have extra time before rehearsal starts, and then during rehearsal, listen to the rest of the band and make sure that your builds and dynamics are not interfering or clashing with the rest of the team. If you ever get lost during rehearsal or during the main set, always remember that you can just 1-5 it out and catch up when you find out where the team is at. You can see my Lord method video for how to do this. Overall, have fun. Playing on worship teams and messing up is the #1 way to get better at playing keys, so don't stress too much about messing up. Everyone will, and it's okay, but a lot of this practice is going to help you be set up for success. So now you're ready to crush it on Sunday morning with the worship team. But what if you aren't loving your keys tone? Your playing might be incredible and your parts are dialed, but maybe you aren't happy with the sound or tone of your keyboard. That is where a simple but incredible keys rig comes in. For amazing tone on a budget, check out this video to level up your keys tone instantly.